And welcome back to the Brody File. Hey, let's face it, if Donald Trump is going to win the presidency, evangelicals are going to need to show up by the boatload to push him over the top. But right now, this isn't about Trump. It's actually about getting evangelicals out to vote in the first place. One group making a huge push is United in Purpose. They're using technology and grassroots organization to make sure evangelicals take their voting duties seriously this fall. Their leader is Bill Dallas, and our Jenna Browder had a chat with him at this month's Values Voters Summit.
Let's talk about your organization a little bit. How did it come about?
So we started about 7 years ago. We're based in Silicon Valley, and at the end of the day, we're a data company. And what we've been doing is tracking data, and we track data on people's behaviors, attitudes, but at the end of the day, one of the key things we're tracking is, can we get people out to vote in any given election? We have about 200 million files, so we have pretty much the whole voting population in our database in the United States of people that actually vote. And what we do is we track to see what's going to make somebody either vote one way or not vote at all. And our organization helps work with other organizations to get the people that normally don't vote out to vote. In the last election, 2012, there was 39 million Christians that did not vote. So what we've been tracking over the last 4 years is those 39 million Christians who did not vote, what do we need to do messaging to get a larger percentage of those out than in the previous election.
And what is that messaging?
So again, one of the key things, which again, Christians are no different than non-Christians, jobs and the economy is incredibly important, which again is why Donald Trump is very appealing to a lot of people, because he understands business. It is still the number one issue. Now, as a key issue for Christians is going to be religious liberty, and that's going to fall into judges. Judges is critically important. So if you had to say the two issues that Christians are falling on, one is that everybody falls in Christian, non-Christian jobs. For Christians in particular, religious liberty, and that's going to tie into the judges. And releasing those initial judges' names that he did for a consideration for the Supreme Court is exactly what Christians wanted to hear.
Do you think Christians get it this time around? Will they show up at the polls?
Will they show up at the polls? You know what? It's still to be determined. As you know, it's after Labor Day is when we start really understanding it better. Prior to Labor Day, which has been over the last few months, it's like trying to sell Christmas trees in July.
What do we need to be doing to encourage our peers to be voting?
Chuck Colson said it best. It's the conversation across the fence. It's the conversation at the dinner table. It's the conversation at barbecues, and it's doing it in a winsome way. Trying to fight and argue and all is never the way. It doesn't win a conversation. It's just beginning the dialogue. If all Christians, right, that are engaged in the process would just get one other Christian to get involved in the political process by voting, that 39 million Christians that don't vote, again, if we could get that down to where 29 million Christians didn't vote, I mean, just bring it down by 10 million, it changes the whole future of the country.
Yeah, course of history.
Bill Dallas here on the Brody File. We're back in a moment.